Welcome to TCM. I'm here with my dear colleague, Professor Patrick Jagoda, who teaches in the Department of Cinema and Media Studies and Department of English. And you're the faculty director of the MAD Center and the Weston Game Lab, where we're sitting right now here at the University of Chicago. Thanks for hosting us here.
It's great to be back here.
So this is our second night of looking at films that feature games and gameplay. And before we get into the first feature for tonight, it would be great to hear more about the Weston Game Lab and what activities happen here.
So this is the Weston Game Lab. Students play games, analyze games, design games in here. We start with board games. We have about 500 of them in this space, and students will learn about rules and objectives and just the elements of what makes an engaging game, and then kind of go from there.
It's part of the curriculum here at the University of Chicago, thanks to the work that you and your colleagues have done, and it's grown dramatically.
Yeah, we have a media arts and design major where students can focus on things like creative computing or, in fact, game design.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about the first film tonight. It is The Mating Season from 1951, and this is a film where we have a young couple played by John Lund and Jean Tierney, and they come from different class backgrounds. So there are many different games that are referenced in this film, and we're going to see a game of backgammon played in the film. Tell us about the background of backgammon.
So this is one of our oldest games. It's about 5,000 years old. It goes back to Mesopotamia. It's a game played with dice and with counters. It was considered to be an aristocratic and intellectual game, even a game played by kings. And there's been a lot of AI research around this game as well, because it's considered to be a great mix of skill and chance.
Could you say more about the relationship between chance and skill?
Yeah, I mean, chance makes a game of skill exciting. A game like chess has no chance associated with it, but a game like backgammon introduces dice, right? And dice are exciting because it isn't just like shuffling a deck of cards. Every time that you do this, right, there's an exciting moment. Like, what am I going to get? I didn't get sixes. But there's always the hope and the possibility. So it creates this moment of suspense and tension.
I love that. Another thing that I love about backgammon is sort of the quality, the luxuriousness of the boards themselves, the leather and the kind of like whatever, velvet. That seems to connect with what you were saying about backgammon as an aristocratic game.
Yeah, I mean, these sets can be collector's items, and the skinnings of a lot of board games are as exciting as the rules themselves, right? They're art objects. This is also a game that is played very quickly compared to other games like chess that are perhaps more contemplative.
So you have to hold up, I guess, to all the dice throwing.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick.
Of course.
Let's take a look from 1951. Here is The Mating Season. Back with me to discuss The Mating Season is my dear colleague here at the University of Chicago, Professor Patrick Jagoda. So we have a moment when backgammon is played in this film, and it's the crux of a real class conflict that we see across the narrative. Talk about what you see in the way that this film presents backgammon as that moment of great conflict.
Yeah, there's this really exciting scene in which Maggie McNulty plays a game of backgammon with an older woman, Mrs. Williamson, at the country club. And Mrs. Williamson accuses Maggie of cheating. At first cheating in the game, and then implies that she might also be cheating on her husband. So what is supposed to be a fun, leisurely game at the country club becomes this really charged moment that becomes the crux of the narrative.
Yeah. I love how even the way they're throwing the dice in the game, it just gets really loud and aggressive. And I've never thought about backgammon in that way. Just the kind of the feel of the game, the sound of the game.
Yeah, it becomes more and more aggressive and becomes not just a metaphor, but this stand-in for the underlying conflict that they're having, which has a lot to do with class.
Well, one of my favorite character actresses of all time, Thelma Ritter, is in this film. She plays John Lund's mother, and she really marks the working class background that he comes from. And the way that she's marked as a working class woman happens in a lot of ways, including the games that she plays, right? We learn that she bowls, for example. And this is a film that references quite a few games, actually.
Yeah, you know, she bowls as a working class woman, and by distinction, we hear about professional men who play golf. So that's one of the big distinctions is between golf and bowling.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is, like games are oftentimes classed. I mean, we think about games that are expensive or inaccessible, especially with sports, right? I mean, you have golf or skiing, which require large amounts of equipment. Or then on the other hand, you have games like soccer or basketball, which are much more accessible around the world.
Makes sense, yes. And there's also a moment when she's talking with her colleagues who work at the department store, I think wrapping gifts. And one woman is an avid horse bettor. And there's all this stuff about gambling as well as a part of what marks you, I guess, a type of gambling that marks you as a working class person, as opposed to maybe some fancier modes of gambling.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for talking about games in general, but the ways that they figure into films.
Thank you.
We'll stay right here because coming up next, we have another film featuring a game of poker featuring Steve McQueen and Edward G. Robinson.
Next on TCM, The Cincinnati Kid, then Gumshoe, and later, The Last of Sheila. First come, first served on TCM tonight.